All right, we live, we back. Shout out, shout out, shout out. What's going on, people? Always, you know how we do about this time. All right, so basically, you know, it's always the focus, man, on your influence. I'm just get right on into it. A lot of times we deal with a lot of people that influence our life, you know, but there's good influence, there's bad influence. You literally have your parents that try to provide, a stable, happy home, but then their influence is, could be bad. You might have a mom and dad that fights all the time. You have, the environment in which you want all this stuff like shoes, clothes. You want to fit in just like all the other kids, but you're not getting that. But then you'll have the kid that gets everything. Stable household, mother and father in there. Don't fight, don't argue. Provide everything for them. But it comes to a degree where they missing something in life. And when they go to school, the kids who don't have nothing, they want their life. I've seen it to where there are guys who start selling drugs, come from a good home, and they looking at it as a way of, just making money and getting by. But your parents give you everything. You don't gotta sell drugs. Then you have the kids that do sell drugs in order to help their parents with the bills. And technically, it's crazy. I seen this video with him 500 and and Dave from Social Proof, and it was probably like three other people on. I didn't really know them, but the video incited that having an influence from your parents. So they was asking questions like, if you had both parents in your life, step forward. If you had your dad in your life that could do certain things for you, step forward. Like the young lady, she didn't have a good relationship with her dad, but her dad paid for her education. You know, the other man had a great relationship with his dad, but he was still the man of the house because his dad didn't, stay with his mom. They ended up getting divorced, so they wasn't together. So it's a lot of influence in our lives that kind of change us, make us be totally different people. And so when you start running the numbers on that, because I mean, prime example, I was just talking on someone's live earlier, and I was telling them what's going on, Frugal Mama. I was just talking to them, and we were having a conversation, and it was regarding a lot of time with influence about going to college and getting things to a trade. What's going on? Cynical One, Business Connection, what's going on? So I was literally telling, oh yeah, I'm supposed to drop the link because this guy might be coming up here. But anybody can come up, if you want to. But basically, when it comes down to it, it was crazy because I was telling him, I'm like, man, you can go get a trade. Literally, I know a guy now, he started his own plumbing business. And the crazy part about that was he went to jail, couldn't find a job. So the craziest thing was he ended up, starting his own business. Got a little help. But at the same time, and I appreciate that cynical one, but at the same time, started his business, making pretty good money. Now, you would think that someone who becomes a doctor or something makes a lot of money and not even thinking about a plumber. This guy can make upwards of a $500,000 or more for the company. He can bring home, you know, 200, whatever, depending on how much work he do. And see, that's the thing. Like, I literally do little small jobs with the guy, you know, and you talk, what's going on, boss lady? You're literally talking about, uh, um, actually my neighborhood. Damn near everybody in my neighborhood has to change out their water line from the street to the house because they use this outlawed piping from back in the day, and I think they say within the 10 to 20 year the pipe breaks down. So during that time they had the class action lawsuit. People didn't get into it. You don't know certain things that your house built with until an incident or a situation happens. So I haven't did mine yet because I haven't had any issues with mine. But my two neighbors replaced their pipes. $2,100. Now the easy way is to run another line. The harder way is bust the concrete, go up under concrete, run the line of the original piping that goes up under the concrete of your driveway and all that, or you just run another line, you know. And some of them, what they do is they, run under the concrete. They have machines for that, and it costs more. Or you can get a guy that can just, like I say, run another line. But anyway, you talking about $2,100 to do this job. Of course, I'm not paying $2,100 because I know what to do. I can actually do it myself, and the only thing it's gonna cost me is the material and putting all my boys to work with me. So when it comes down to it, I'm looking at that situation, and you got about, I want to say about 30 houses in my neighborhood, and so in my neighborhood you got 30 houses. Just off the rip of doing simple math, 30 and 2,000. But that is $60,000 to do all those houses. I mean, that's just one neighborhood. The guy makes $60,000, and he commit a contract to all those people. He could say, "Man, I do. If everybody gets on board and I get so many people, I do it for $1,500." Literally. So when we start talking about business and we start talking about education, I don't never knock a person that goes to college, but at the same time, you got to look at it like this. There's multiple ways now to make money. You got people into trades. So it's like I could go to school, but I can become an electrician. Like, this is a dying profession right now that, say the least, a lot of people who are immigrants are coming over making bank off that. Because in their country, that's what they were doing. They were doing the electrician jobs because, needless to say, in other countries, you literally got to have some money if you want to go to college. You literally got to have some money. So within most cases, you had situations to where if you were trying to make some money or trying to do some things, you'll just go get a regular job. So you literally had people going into construction. I mean, prime example, I know this guy, he is, 73? He's still cutting grass. He said it's easy to, 73 years old guy, I'm talking about a workhorse, works, provides, cut grass. He didn't have to go to college for that. All he had to do was buy the equipment and start working. I mean, when it comes down to it, we always have this issue where a lot of us, I wouldn't even say a lot, I would just say some to a degree. If they don't go to college, they feel like they lacking in something, or to a degree, if they don't get the recognition that they want or things, they kind of feel a certain type of way. But my thing is overall, like I'm trying to get more and more people to understand, if college is not in your future, it's just not in your future. You know, it's better for you to actually have something to where you can fall back on, get a trade. A lot of people are looking at getting trades. A lot of people are looking at, finding a better and new career certifications. Hey, Tampa, man. Hey, hit my line, man. I got to holler at you about something, too. You can hit my Gmail at she we here. Hit my Gmail at she we here. But when it comes down to it, there's a lot of us, man. You know, that probably just couldn't have to go to college, didn't have the funding. You know, family couldn't. You could take out the loans. Yeah, you can do all that, but to me, more or less, in my opinion, if I'm not going to school for something that I generally, pretty much gonna put my all into it. Start, say I'm going to college, getting up, going to class every day, doing everything the right way. I don't even want to attempt it because I don't want to get to the point of putting work into it and I don't, get the stuff done. Hold on, right quick. Gotta real quick. Yeah, my bad. Making some moves real quick. But yeah, when it comes down to it, man, it be a lot of us, who want to go to college, want to do stuff right, and then we have the family members that kind of hold us back. So what is our next deal, or what is our next move to do? What's going on, popcorn in the building? Hey, I wish I was on YouTube side where I could give you a wrench. But like I said, say the least, man. It's college to me is not for everybody. There are a lot of people who barely pass high school, and you're talking about actually, going to college. Just realistically speaking, I mean, like I said, it's not for everybody. Everybody's not gonna have the, know how to get up in the morning, what's going on, country hustle, to actually get up and do what they supposed to do every morning. So, even with a trade school's good, but a lot of people fail at that because they don't generally have that work ethic to knock that stuff out. I'm getting on my son now. He's taking a trade course. And the biggest thing with him is, when it comes down to it, all he do is want to have fun. Like I told him, I said it's okay to have fun, son. And he's older. He's about 24, and he's finishing up this course that he got. And that's my main thing that I told him. I said, why pick up this course and you're not gonna finish it? So he ended up knocking it down, getting the course done. It was a course dealing, I think it's for electrician class, and I know he had did a coding class. He kind of backed out of that, and now he's trying to finish that one up too. And basically, like I told him, if you're not gonna go ahead and finish school or get into school, don't start something you're not gonna finish. That was one of the main reasons why I didn't want to go to school, because I was like, when it came down to it, I started looking at, I could get in my field now, make the money now. So why would I go to a 4-year school? And I was actually going to school for art design, and and business management because I needed some type of courses on teaching me about the structure of business. Little did I know I could get a online course that teach me all this stuff about managing properties, about managing money, so if I want to own my own building. A lot of stuff that people go into school for, they have just online courses. They have um trade classes that you can go take. Same thing with me, like I said, when I got into plumbing. I got into plumbing through somebody else. And once I started learning, I'm like, well, I found a school where I can go take a class in not home inspector, home improvement. So there's a school that works with home improvement. I can go take that. It shows me not just only plumbing. It also shows me how to do drywall. Shows me how to do carpentry work, dealing with wood, building frames, putting in windows, all these things. So not only do I want to get into that type of work pretty much full time, I still also have my delivery side where I do my deliveries at. So I have my hat in a lot of things, but like I'm saying, it's getting to the point where a lot of people are stepping away because, in my opinion, to me, Tamika, what's going on? Going into school and putting yourself in debt is one of the biggest, issues that we have with a lot of the youth and the older generation. Like I said, going back to being a doctor, you actually go to school to be a doctor. You're going to be in school to be a doctor at least about 6 years, 4 years. Get that bachelor's out the way. Then you have to go do a lot of on site to where you're gonna have to work in ERs a lot. That's where they mostly put the new doctors. You're going into the ER. You're going into the trenches. You're gonna be in there working hard, getting this done, getting that done. To a degree, it's gonna come off as, man, this is a lot of work. You know, over time, it pays off because you start making the money. But then you have to look at all the debt you accrued while trying to make the money. Because, needless to say, you're not gonna get by this school. Like, I literally seen a guy who was on Dave Ramsey. This guy is about $1 million in debt. He was trying to become a doctor. He's from Africa. Tried to become a doctor. He failed the exit exam 3 times, and the credits and the amount of money he has enough to become a teacher. And he went to school. He actually went teaching kids, and he's still trying to become a doctor. So he's taking afternoon classes, and every time he failed, what he'll do is he'll restart all the way from scratch because he's missing something where he's failing on these tests versus him trying to sit there and say, well, the part that I'm failing on, I need to study that more. I need to retake that and then go back and take the exam and pass it. Because to me, that's a lot of debt. And Dave Ramsey was telling him, man, like, how you gonna get off this debt? Like $1 million? Every time he went, the it was 300,000 per year. 300,000 per 4 years every time he tried to go take it. So this guy literally, I'm talking about just all this money being spent. 12 years of trying to deal with this, of him trying to graduate and end up becoming a teacher. Salary is not all the way there, but because he has the education, they have to pay him a little bit more than a regular teacher. But at the end of the day, just crazy. Yeah, he could change his profession and switching lab, like you say, cynical. But the point of it is, a lot of times, man, a lot of people so homed in on something, that's all they want to do. They lose sight of different things. I've told my wife that when she was going to school and she didn't get into the field that she wanted, I said, well, the amount of schooling that you have, you can take that and get into this profession. So she agreed and she looked into it, and that was her next step. But at the same time, some people are just so homed in on what they want to do that they, despite all things, I just want to complete this task. And someone ended up pushing him in the point of being the doctor for them to actually, get into that. Yeah. And I mean, it's literally crazy. And then, like, prime example, this guy that I was talking about, that's a plumber. He actually went to plumbers, joined the plumber union, and you know his business roughly makes on a slow year nothing less than 300,000, and that's a slow year of him not even really doing work. Like, every time I deal with him and we work together, the jobs that we're doing, I mean, just understand, like, in one week we did a plumbing job that was 27 for that for the line, and then I did another one after that. What was the job I did before that one? That was a plumbing line. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, the drain system. Drain system was 25, 25 and 37. That was what, 52, $5,200, and that was just in one person doing that. And that was $5,200 for two jobs with just one person doing it. Well, I'm sorry, two people at a time on those jobs, and he wasn't paying like $1,000 for us to do the jobs. He paid us a regular going rate because he literally had to pay everything else. So I could understand that. I'm like, I'm doing the job, and it was 2,700. I don't expect to get $1,000, but say the least $300 was pretty good out of that. You know, it only took us a day work. What was it? Started, I want to say 8 hours, and it was supposed to be less than 8 hours. But the guy I was dealing with, I had to always kept coming behind him, picking up the slack on him. I mean, you talking about just in 2 days, the guy made $5,200. I mean, just imagine if he was doing a job every day, making at least close to every other day, making at least close to $500 every other day. I mean, like I said, being a doctor, being a plumber, they're up there in the same. And anyway, with doctors, you got to pay so much money back pay. You got to pay for your schooling because most of the time doctors want to drive nice cars. They want to get houses. These houses and the cars are automatically guaranteed through them through their profession. Now, if you're in debt, like a lot of debt, is not going to guarantee. But the minimum debt that you have, they have it to where a lot of the doctors and things that they can get houses according to their profession like that. But the point of it is that just increasing their debt even more. You know, this guy plumber comes out trade school, he pays his trade school up front, don't have no debt, doesn't have student loan anything for that. Goes and pays to get in a union, so he's being represented to a degree, certain standpoint. Guy makes over $300,000 a year. I mean, like I said, I wasn't trying to count his pockets. Or don't. He probably makes more than that. Like I said, on a slow year, he tells me he makes nothing less than 300,000, over a million plus. So what do you think he pays himself? You know, 150,000, 200,000. I mean, because the biggest thing to run your company is your material, your tools, and your business. If you don't have a foundational business and you can work out your home, that cuts down on a lot of the maintenance for a building, all that insurance, all this. He's making bank and didn't have to go to college. Priors from being in jail, and this guy makes, like I said, to me, more money than a doctor. Like I said, I'm not knocking people who go to school, but the ways of the past, even with people getting into being a doctor, You can go to school for a CNA, finish up your CNA courses, you know, go get certificates in phlebotomy, all these different things subsidiary to becoming a doctor or a nurse, and then come in there. What's going on, Kev, in the building? And then that's how you get there, like you say. That's how you win it. You know, going there, getting all these certificates, and then once you get the foundation, you get the money, start, then you can go back to school, become a nurse, take your education to the next level, becoming a doctor. And then while the whole time while you're doing that, you're not creating a lot of debt for yourself. See, a lot of people just get out of high school, go straight into there, going in debt, no money. I know a guy now, he's actually an engineer, just got hired on to a real nice company. And this young guy, parents paid for him to go to to college. They paid his tuition after the scholarships because everybody always talk about the scholarships. Scholarships don't cover everything. Throughout his 4 years, his parents paid for him a house to stay in, an apartment going into his sophomore year. So sophomore, junior, and senior year, he had an apartment. Who's paying for that? His parents. So he didn't accrue much debt due to his parents having money. And that goes into what I was talking about earlier with, the him 500 social proof with Dave. They were talking about the, dynamics with your parents and the influence that you have with them. A lot of times we sit there and look at all the good, that happens in everything, but when it comes down to it, the bad is nobody's really seeing the bad. Nobody's rewarding for the bad. You know, you don't get a pizza party for bad behavior. You don't get, to see the debt people in. All you get to see is the big house, the nice car. You don't see the debt. That's a little like what social media does for a lot of people. Social media puts everything in the vanity of everything being so good. I ain't got no debt, you know, I ain't got to pay these bills, because, you know, I'm good. But when you start looking and start peeling back that layer, and I've said this before, probably people ain't, but I'll say it again. There was this lady, she was focused on having a women empowerment tour. And she was saying that when it come down to it, she literally had a woman in mind that kind of brought her into her wealth. This lady ended up um brought her into her wealth because this lady literally say when I first started seeing her videos, the way she dressed, the way she looked, her clothes, her purses, her car, everything was so magnified to her, to where this lady influenced her by just looking at her pictures to be successful. So she ended up saying, man, I done made this money, I done got successful. I'm gonna reach out to this lady and I'm gonna get her to come to my conference and inspire everyone else like she inspired me. So she ended up reaching out to the lady on Instagram. Hey, how you doing? You don't know me. I've been inspired by your pictures, your videos, and all the outfits that you wear over the years, and I want you to come to my woman's conference. The lady told her, sorry, I can't do that because I don't know where I'm gonna stay next month. She said, I'm about to get evicted out of my place. Things are kind of rough for me right now, which that's understandable with people. You go through your issues, you go through things, this and that. And she was like, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. You know, uh, I'll try to keep in touch with you later and hope everything works out. And she said, literally, right after she got off the phone with this lady, within an hour, she posted a picture of her walking away from a red BMW with some red bottoms, and I think it was like Prada or whatever, red Prada bottoms, and a red Prada purse or whatever it was. But all the essentials kind of matched up. I don't think the dress was a designer, but the dress was just a red dress. And she was behind this red Mercedes Benz. And she was like, I literally just got off the phone with this lady. This lady was telling me how she's struggling and going through it, but then she posts this nice picture right after. So, people are struggling, you don't even know. Like personally, she didn't even have to tell her all that stuff. She could have just said, I can't do it because, I have some situation going on right now. But that goes to show you like the vanity of social media. And I've been talking for a minute. I forgot to tell people to, shout out to the Builders Table. Check out the 9 laws of self-govern. It's been a while since I broke down the 9 laws. I might hit that Wednesday when I do my wellness. Shout out to Frugal Mama. Let me tap you in. Wellness with Frugal Mama when I do my wellness on Wednesday, and I'll talk about that. Alonzo, what's going on, man? You know, it comes down to it, man. A lot of times I always speak on this to where social media influence so many people. It gets them motivated in so many ways, but it also leaves people in the point of being docile that think they can never achieve. They can never get to that status, of other people. It comes down to it. A lot of people, man, here on this social media are just pushing information and hoping that somebody grab onto it and do something with it. You know, like I say, when I always talk about budgeting, plain and simple. A lot of people they're not taught this. Their parents are not teaching them this. They're finding this stuff out later on in life, and it's harder for them to deal with it. You know, when it comes down to it, if you're coming into wealth, 10 times out of 10, you're going to be taught certain things that most people aren't. You're going to be in a position to win better than most people if you have that ear and you listen to your family. You know, because that's majority of the time wealthy people try to, you know, give the information. Even to the point of people that are that are not wealthy, that have a little knowledge, they try to give as much knowledge as they can, but that little knowledge can only take you so far, you know, and that's when you actually need that extra hand or that extra help. So that's why I say kind of beating a dead horse, but I'm always try to push this budget thing because, like I said, it's not even to a sense that me knowing everything and all. It's just me knowing a little bit or learning a little bit and trying to push to the masses, you know. But with that being said, shout out to everybody in the building. I'm about to get ready to get off of here. Y'all get into the description and check out those 9 laws of self govern, you know, and, leading with the first one being discipline. Shout out to the builders table. If you don't have discipline, pretty much it starts with that. If you don't have discipline, a lot of things you can't do. You can't get up and go to work on time. You can't be a student of the game if you don't have discipline. So shout out, shout out, shout out to everybody in the building. Once again, I always say when I get off of here, we here, we gone. Peace.